Hey everyone, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana, Jenna Cottrell, Dan Fates here. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the comment. It really helps the channel continue to grow. Over 12,000 subscribers. We appreciate them all. Obviously, the Bills heading into Week 18, the first ever Week 18. And Mike, what do you expect to see from both teams in this one to start out?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a game with teams with obviously huge incentives to play well. We know what the Bills is, right? You're at home with a chance to lock up the division title. And while they wanted it to be easier this year, I think if you say to Sean McDermott before the year, you got a chance to lock it up at home against the Jets in the last game, you're going to take it because that means you're in that spot. And as far as the Jets are concerned, look, they're a young team. A lot of changes, been through a lot this year, but they've got their quarterback on the field. He's played okay. The team is playing hard. They should have beaten the Bucs last week. And if I'm Robert Saleh, I'm coming into this game going, I want to see how my team matches up. I'm going to approach this like we're in the playoffs. This is a playoff game for us, and I think his team's going to play inspired. I think the Bills are better, but I think the Jets are going to play hard.
I agree. I think this is a Jets team, too, that we've seen them consistently in this last part of the season start to play better football. There's something that they can build off here. And look, this is their playoff game in terms of what they want to do. This is an opportunity for them to kind of set where they're going to be at for next year, this year. So I see them being very motivated. Like, I don't see them being the type of team that kind of is like, all right, we'll just roll out the ball and see how it goes. I don't think that's a Robert Saleh team either. But again, I mean, the Bills, if this wasn't for the AFC East title game, I don't know, or for the AFC East title, I don't know if the Bills would maybe think about, resting guys or what they would do. But because of what's on the line, I expect this to be a pretty interesting game just in terms of what we see. But also, I think this Bills team this is the tune-up before the playoffs, and they need to take it seriously.
Yeah, and Jenna, going back to you, how this season has been such a roller coaster. I think the team calls it ebbs and flows, and that's what Brian Daboll's called it. But this is kind of not the final chapter, but closes the first season. It closes the regular season. And what do you think that this game kind of says? Because Sean McDermott joked that if he had hair, it'd be grayer from this year. But a lot of the guys that when they were talking on Thursday to us, kind of said that like last year wasn't any picnic either. You just didn't see it.
Yeah. I think that's true because we weren't around the team as much with COVID protocols and stuff like that. Now, let's be honest. It seemed like the Bills were pressing all the right buttons last year. But at the same point, I think their highs and lows have been that much more evident. Like that loss against Jacksonville, that's a pretty easy low to pick out. And there's just been points in this season where you've seen this Bills team play uncharacteristically or maybe just not to the expectations that we thought. And I think that goes to show that when you have expectations on a team, like that can affect every outcome in terms of what you expect and where the Bills were able to meet that, or were they not, or were they above that? So going into that, I just think it's completely different, and it just shows how much this team has grown. But this game, I mean, after this week, it's no longer guaranteed, and you want to be able to put everything together.
Good cliche, Jenna.
It's true, though. I mean, I hate you right now, but it's true. I mean, we talk about what a grind this season is, but if you don't play well in 2 weeks, then it's over.
Yeah. I think Jenna made a really good point about the way this year is. And when you look at those losses, it's the thing that makes you doubt this team a little bit, because last year, even their losses were either excusable, like the strange one against the Titans, or you lost to the Chiefs, or you got beat on a Hail Murray.
Yeah.
This year, opening day, you're not ready to go and you lose. That was concerning. And you lose that game in Jacksonville, which to me was the worst loss of the McDermott era, because that was one time they just did not look ready to play at all. And against a terrible team with an awful head coach, at least as an NFL coach. And then you had that Patriots game where, the weather was the biggest factor, but come on. The Bills are still a better team than the Patriots, and they didn't play like it on that night. So those were all reasons to be concerned. And I think they've bounced back from those, but it put that seed of doubt in you. So I think just getting it done this week against the Jets, a division team, and still being division champs will show you something about this team. And then they can reset very briefly and get themselves ready for what should be a wild ride in the AFC playoffs.
I think we've talked so much about how at this point in the season it's been just about winning. Like it's not, there's no statement wins, there's no style points. Here for this game, you wanted to have a little flair to it, in my opinion, because I think that would just put your mind at ease going into the playoffs, where you weren't seeing a team that you're like, whoa, what is going on? And they still eke out a win. I just want to see them win confidently, I think is probably the best way to put it.
I agree with you offensively. I want to see the passing game kind of get back on track after that awkward turnover performance from Josh Allen. Defensively, depending on what happens with starters, whether they pull them in the second half, if they're in control. But I'm with you, Jenna, because what does Micah Hyde say? Confidence is a hell of a drug. And, this is, like I said, you always try and find similarities. I feel like that's our job this time of the year, is to be like, hey, the hot team, that team has always X number of teams that have won this many games going into the postseason, has made the championship game so many percentage of the time. But to some respects, that is the wanting to be playing the best and to be carrying momentum through week 18 against we are giving the Jets, I feel like, a lot of credit here because they don't have their golf clubs in front of their locker room, but neither does that other team in Jersey. But besides the point, what do you guys think you'll see, Mike, if you want to give your game prediction as to what you're expecting to see Sunday?
Yeah, I think the teams will play inspired, like we said, but I think the Bills' superior talent level, better quarterback, all those things comes through. I think the Bills, I want to see an efficient game out of them. And we didn't see that last week with the turnovers.
Yeah.
I think we've seen more of that from the defense, but offensively, I want to see a little more efficiency. I don't want to see the turnovers.
Yep.
I want to set the under over at 1. I give them the benefit of the doubt that can happen. I don't want to see that happen. I think if we see them play like that, I think Bills fans will have a reason to feel a little bit better going into the postseason. We know when they play really well, like we saw in that game at New England, they can put up the points. So I think that's what I want to see. I've got the Bills winning the game 34-13 over the Jets.
Jenna?
I have the Bills also winning this one 27-17, is my score. I just want to see the passing offense get its rhythm back. And maybe that's Brian Daboll calling a bunch of, shorter passes earlier on. But I will say one thing that I would like to see heading into the playoffs is maybe a deep shot and a connection that we haven't really seen in a couple games now. So that's something that I would be interested in seeing, just making sure that the timing is right, whether it be with Diggs or someone else, Gabriel Davis, someone else. I just think that might be important too, because we haven't seen consistency in terms of that. I just want to see that shot kind of connect. But that being said, I think this Bills team, Mike said it, we all said it, they're the more talented group. And I expect them to run the ball effectively like they have been over these last couple of weeks. But yeah, I just want to see the passing offense kind of settle in, especially after what we saw against the Falcons.
Yeah, I think the Jets defense absolutely stinks, but this offense is a little bit better than maybe we're giving credit for, especially with Zach Wilson. Again, he was the number 2 overall pick. He is playing better. He has progressed since coming back from the injury. I think the Bills offense has no problem marching up and down the field. I'm with Mike, seeing efficient, I don't care if they punt in this one or anything like that. Like, that's not what this is about. It's not about punting. It's about just the fact of moving the ball, ending drives with kicks, not turning the ball over. I'm with you. I think they have no problem scoring 30-plus points in this one, no matter what the weather is. I think this Jets offense can be feisty, as we've kind of given them credit for. But I don't see this being a massive blowout. But I do see this, as Jenna's point, like an NCAA tournament game. This is the number 2 team playing the number 15 seed. Like, you should control the game the entire way. You shouldn't trail at halftime and to take care of your business, because this is now the time where, we've said it before, no moral victories. There's no style points. It's just get in and get out.
Yeah. Well, just picture if things didn't go the way they wanted this week, where you're packing up and going on the road and you handed the division to the Patriots. Now that's provided the Patriots beat the Dolphins, which I got to say, I don't think that's a given. But the same way, you got to be, if you're the AFC East champs, you won it last year, you're going to win it again. All you got to do is take care of business at home against the Jets. Just be that team. Be the team that can be counted on. Just win and take care of business, and then worry about next week.
I will say, Mike, the Bills winning the AFC East title at home in front of fans, I mean, that's a moment that
Yeah.
I mean, Dan and I
Yeah.
have. It's been a while.
Well, nobody got to celebrate it in that way last year because,
Correct, yes.
first of all, they won it in Denver and there were no fans
Yeah.
when they were at home until the playoffs. And I think that part will be fun. I mean, you go back to the 90s, they won it in 91 and 92. They were a wild card in 93, and then they won it again in 94, and they won it in 95. So they were the dominant team. It ran through Buffalo. You've created that. 2 in a row, great. Now you start stringing them together and you let everybody in the division know, like New England did, that it runs through Buffalo. And you can't do that without knocking off the Jets in the last game at home to win the division. So that part of it where you start to string these together, it really continues on Sunday.
Yeah.
Seems simple enough. Win against the lonely Jets, and you are AFC East champs for back-to-back seasons. Mike and I will be up at the game. We'll see how much Mother Nature cooperates for the 4:25 kickoff. Jenna will be in studio. We'll have plenty of coverage throughout the entire weekend, obviously in our podcast coming up throughout the rest of the week. So make sure to keep it, like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate it here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. For Mike and Jenna, I'm Dan. Thanks for watching here on Buffalo Plus's YouTube channel.